Today, I want to spend some time talking about kindness. Kindness. Kindness is a very rare quality in the world today. It's very rare. We don't have enough kind people. And that's because we have a misconception about kindness. And we confuse a lot of times kindness with niceness. We seek nice people and not kind people. And today I'll spend some time just talking about this because this is something I learned pretty recently. How to be kind in my communication. I spent the last 3-4 years actively getting into the mentoring, into teaching, and I do a lot of communicating with people. And initially, I had a big problem with communicating because for years I've always strived to be a nice guy. I've always strived to be a nice guy, and I thought that was a strength. But very recently, I realized it was a weakness, and I'll tell you why it's a weakness to be nice. There's this saying that nice guys finish last. I always disagreed with that, but it's the truth. It is the truth. The aim in life is not to be nice. The aim in life is to be kind. And I will try to draw a distinction between the two. I had this experience when I was much younger, just getting into my teenage years and puberty was beginning to kick in. I had this friend. His name was Solomon. His name is Solomon. I've not been in contact with him in years, and to be good to know where he is. I tried Googling him, but I can't even find him. But his name was Solomon. And he was much older. He came from Kaduna, and I think he had some family issues. He had some family issues, and I think maybe his dad had kicked him out of the house based on some faith issues, faith conflict. So he wandered his way to Abuja. No, to Lagos. We're still in Lagos then, so sorry about that. I hadn't come to Abuja then. So he went from Kaduna to Lagos, which when I think about it now is quite a distance for anyone to cover. So he found himself in Lagos, just looking for opportunities to work. And he used to write music then. He was highly talented in rap music. And so myself and another friend of mine, Emmanuel, we used to hang out with him a lot. He was about 18, 19, you understand? So we used to hang out with him and he used to tell us a lot of stories about things he's been through and stuff, and just really encourage us as young men. And to survive, he had this shack-like structure built where he used to cut hair. He worked as a barber. It was nothing fancy, but he was really good at the job. He knew how to do it. He paid attention to detail. So anytime we went to his shop, he would talk with us and just tell us to get in the seat and cut our hair. So this particular day, I had gone to his shop and he was cutting someone's hair. And, he stopped what he was doing and said, "Let me see you outside." And I went outside with him, and I'm like, what does he want to see me for? And he said, "You know what? Have you ever heard of roll-ons?" And I said, yeah. It was like, "Yeah, you need to start using it." I'm like, "Why?" And he said, "Because, whenever you come to the shop, there's this smell that just everywhere and it disturbs me and I'm sure it disturbs some of my clients too. You really need to start using it. You're at that age, you need to start using it. Get a roll on and start using it. Because, you're smelling really, really ripe." And man, I just felt like the ground should open and I should fall into it. And he said, "All right, let's go back inside." And I went back inside and I felt so uneasy. And In less than 5 minutes, I gave an excuse to leave. And I remember walking back home and I felt angry. I felt ashamed. I felt betrayed. I felt embarrassed. I felt a tsunami of all manner of self-deprecating emotions. And for a very long time, I didn't go back to his shop. I just avoided him like a plague. Because in my mind, I'm like, how could Solomon talk to me like that? Why would he tell me something like that? Why would he tell me I smelled offensive? Why? And I spent so much time focusing on how that made me feel. But then, I went out and I got one of these deodorant and I started using it. You understand? I started using it. And since that day, I've been very serious about, using deodorant and stuff. I'm so, I got very serious about it. Not just deodorants, but perfumes and stuff. And I got very into my grooming. And, even till today, I still have people tell me, Tola, I like the way you smell. I like the way you smell. You smell really good. What do you use? What perfume do you use? What deodorant do you use? I had people pay me that compliment. And I thought about it and I was like, I owe this to Solomon. I probably wouldn't have been serious about this self-hygiene culture. Probably wouldn't have been serious about it if he didn't tell me. I still know some guys who are well into their 30s and they're not, they step into the room and you just can't wait to get them out of the room. And I now know how much Solomon had to gather up himself to tell me, because I have some guys that are, just evidently are not paying attention to their hygiene in terms of perspiration and stuff like that. And I haven't had the courage to tell any of them. And for that, many years later, I know how much work Solomon had to do. And I've come to appreciate his act of kindness now. That was really a very kind thing to do. It was a very kind thing to do. I mean, he could have gotten rid of me in one way or the other and just tell me, oh, you know what, I'm really busy right now, come back later, or stuff like that. But he had to tell me. I mean, I had friends then, none of them told me. Maybe they were part of my age. Maybe, they weren't any better than I was. But then I had other adults that hung out with me and they never told me. And to be honest, I knew the smell, but I just thought, maybe I just didn't pay attention to it as something other people could smell. But then he told me, and that was kindness. That was kindness. Being able to say what had to be said, even if it was going to sting and hurt, even at the risk of it creating it like a temporary wedge between us for a while, because I didn't go back to see him for a while. He was willing to do that, was willing to be kind. That is kindness, and that has helped me to be the man I am today in that aspect of life. It didn't feel good the moment he said it. But then many years later, if I see him, I would hug him and tell him thank you for being so kind to me. We need to surround ourselves with kind people. We need to be more intentional about kindness. When I started mentoring in 2020, I started finding myself surrounded by a lot of younger people much younger than I am, people 20 years younger than I am. And, I knew it was an obligation to guide them. It was an obligation to be a leader, to be a bigger brother, to be a father figure to some of them. And here I was, this young man that I've been so used to being nice. I had this insecurity of wanting to be accepted by people. And that's the difference between being nice and being kind. A lot of times, niceness is an act of selfishness. A lot of times, niceness is an act of wanting to be accepted, wanting to be liked, wanting to be part of the team, to be seen in a good light. And business didn't help me in overcoming this act of being nice, because I saw myself in my years of doing active business. I saw myself being phony nice to people, you understand? Because I was thinking, oh, I want to build a rapport with this person so that I can get to work with them, or they can get to work with me. A lot of times, this thing we call being nice reveals more of a deep-seated insecurity of wanting to fit in. So when I got into mentoring, I saw myself talking with a lot of younger people and not being able to tell them exactly what they needed to do in very clear terms. It was always a struggle, communicating. I would edit myself out of the meaning of what I wanted to say. And I realized that after talking with them and advising them, there was hardly any change. It was like they never really understood what I was saying. And a lot of them stayed in the situation that they had come to me with even months and years after. Nothing had changed. And deep in my spirit, I knew that it was because I wasn't communicating clearly, I wasn't communicating confidently, I wasn't communicating kindly. I was thinking more of myself than thinking about them. Really deep inside, I didn't want to lose them. And I had to think to myself, if they were your biological kids, would you talk to them that way? I realized with my kids, I am kinder. And what that means is sometimes I tell them how it is so that they can fully understand. Not harsh, but honest. Not harsh, not insensitively, but clearly. I communicate clearly. Kindness is communicating clearly. And sometimes communicating clearly means not using the nicest words, but using the clearest words. It's a very hard act, and we don't give kindness enough credit. We don't. I've learned over the past few months to be kinder in my words, to be more open, to leave little room for ambiguity. And by doing this, I've had to go to this place of discomfort in a lot of relationships that I've had with people. Discomfort. But discomfort has been because I truly love them. Truly. Sometimes when you are being kind, the cost of being kind is a loss of a relationship. It's a weird thing to say, but it's reality. There are some people you will be kind to with your words, kind to in terms of telling them clearly what they are doing wrong, something nobody has had the confidence to tell them, something they really need to hear. And the first person they will cut off is you. But they will go ahead and change. But you will be the sacrifice for that change. You will be the sacrifice for that change. That's what it means to be kind. I am ready to be the sacrifice for that change. You will cut me off, but at least you become better. It's an incredible, incredible hard thing for us to do as human beings. And if you can find one kind person in your life, one, you are so fortunate. One kind person in your life. You are so fortunate. Have the wisdom not to let them go. Have the wisdom not to let them go, because not too many people in life will be kind, especially the higher you go in life. That's one thing really wealthy, rich people want to surround themselves with, because they have so many yes men around them, to the extent whereby when they are going wrong, nobody's there to tell them, stop it. You are destroying your life. It's the burden of celebrity. That's why you have celebrities die of overdose, because they have too many enablers around them, not enough kind people saying, I'm not coming back here tomorrow if you don't clean up your act. Not enough kind people. Too many nice people. Too many yes, okay people. We need to learn to be kind. And we need to learn to identify kindness. It's very important. Never take it for granted. This year, I've had to go to that uncomfortable place, as I've said, with a lot of people and just tell them. You see, when I was walking back home after Solomon told me that thing, for a brief moment, I asked myself, how else could he have said it? I shrugged that question away, but that's the question I really should have answered. How else should he have said it? He had enough wisdom to take me out. He had enough wisdom to tell me, look, it's not you, it's just the stage in life you're at. But I was too engrossed in my own ego. How else could he have said it? I think sometimes if we could sit down and really think, this thing that this person said, how else could he have said it? That would have made it really clear to me to say, I really need to take this step. Because if he had said it any nicer, I won't take it seriously. If Solomon had said it nicer, I know myself, I won't take it any seriously. I'll do it for a while, then drop it after a while. And maybe I won't be married today to my wife. Maybe. You know, kindness is an act of love. Sometimes an act of love doesn't sound very loving. It doesn't sound very loving. You know, when I read the Bible, sometimes I hear Jesus talk and I'm like, why is this guy so stern with these people, with his disciples? Oh, you have little faith. How long shall I be with you? How long shall I stand you? You understand? Now, this guy should calm down now. But you see, all those things made them understand in hindsight that he truly loved them deeply. Didn't mince words with them because he loved them. Learn to identify love. Some of you are missing out on love because you are looking for nice. Some of you have disposed of incredibly good people because you were bent and holding on to words, adjectives that they used, tones. You missed out on the gold because you focused on the dirt. But you must understand that gold originally is found in dirt. You focused on the varnish and ignored the grain and the quality of the wood. But you must know that the most varnished wood always conceals poor quality. Stop looking for nice people. Start identifying kind people in your lives. Stop trying to be nice. You know, sometimes you watch these shows like America's Got Talent or Nigeria Got Talent or Nigerian Idol, or all those singing shows. And at the early stages, the first stage when they start eliminating people en masse, you see some people come and you're like, how did they get there in the first place? How did they get there? Wasn't anybody loving enough to tell them, you cannot sing? You cannot sing. Don't go there and embarrass yourself. Some of them don't have kind people in their lives. They are nice people. I tell them, oh, your voice is all right, because you don't hurt their feelings. Then the people go on a national or international platform and embarrass themselves because nobody was kind enough to tell them. Nobody was kind enough to tell them. And then they leave it to Simon Cowell to tell them. Let's be kind. Let's be kind. And let's embrace kindness. My name is Tola T.A. Alabi, and you've been listening to my podcast, ProUp Masterclass.